some of the best stuff that you'll hear from Brock Purdy.
Obviously, we have what it takes to go all the way and win it. Like, that's when we're at full strength and good to go.
The 49ers are excited about their set of weapons, including the rookies. How can you not be when Kalon Black benches 400 pounds? Dude is built like a unit, and Dejon Stribling impressing the 49ers at OTAs already as well. Brock yesterday gave a little bit of a hard time to Kyle Juszczyk, the Dwight Clark Award winner, talking about his sponsorship, not of this bridge, not of the Bay Bridge in San Francisco. That's Interstate 80. His sponsorship, though, of Highway 101.
I think he's got a road or something dedicated to him because he gave a road around here, a highway.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I was driving one day, I was like, that's Kyle Juszczyk, ask him about it.
Brock Purdy said you have a road named after you?
Yeah, the 101 highway.
Wait, is that real?
Yeah. How did
this happen?
So I did an anti-littering campaign.
Okay.
And part of it is that they help donate towards, like the Adopt a Highway.
Yeah.
You see the signs. So yeah, it's Kyle Juszczyk, or Kyle Juice Juszczyk Highway.
A lot of unfiltered Purdy and Juszczyk content. We'll get to all that if you watch until the end of this video. First, the location. Supporting the San Francisco Fire Department, that's their fireboat station. There's fireboat number 3 right underneath the Bay Bridge. Some of the best stuff yesterday from Brock Purdy came in his discussion of Mike Evans, the future Hall of Fame wide receiver whom the 49ers added this offseason. And Evans has played with some really, really good quarterbacks, including Tom Brady. Apparently, some of what Mike Evans was able to glean from his relationship with Tom Brady has applied to the nuances that Brock Purdy and Mike Evans are installing in the 49ers offense right now.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Obviously, just what he's done in his career. He's a Hall of Famer, 1,000-yard seasons, really year after year, his whole career. He's won the Super Bowl. Just like being around him and in his presence and understanding, what it's going to take to play with him and just like honestly like the good pressure that it brings. Like, all right, I have a guy that is demanding success and demanding to be great, and I love that. I want to play with guys like that. Obviously, I've played with guys like that with George and Christian and all that, but to bring Mike in the fold now and be able to have a big target like he is, but how he sees the game and him breaking down routes that he's run with Tom and Baker Mayfield, and I'm like, all right, like this guy knows ball, and so I'm really excited. And as we go, we're just going to continue to build chemistry. It's going to get good. Yeah, I think just like his experience, he's going in, I think, year 13 or 14, and just talking about like certain routes in the red zone, and I'm like, hey, dude, on film, I saw you run this one route. We have a similar concept. Like, what are you thinking? And he's like, actually, it's not that concept. I had a choice to go around the DB a certain way, and Tom knew to put the ball there, and that's something that we talked and worked through. I'm like, oh shoot! So that's like stuff that we're gonna, have to talk through and work through. But I'm so excited because this guy sees the game. I feel like a quarterback does. Sometimes with skilled players, it's tough because like they run the route. Coach taught me 8 yards. I'm breaking this way or that way. But when you get a guy that can see the game like a quarterback and have a feel for it, those are the kind of guys that I think they take their game to the next level, and you get a Hall of Famer like Mike Evans. Yeah, it's been sweet. Just in the locker room, like Mike is obviously a Hall of Fame receiver and all the things, but he's a bro, to all of us. Like, he's a guy that's in the locker room that's chatting it up, making jokes with guys and stuff, and he's just a real dude. He's a father. He's bouncing back and forth and going back home to Texas and coaching up his daughter's like basketball team and stuff. So yeah, he's just a real dude that we all love being around.
Hustle and bustle of the Embarcadero. Thursday morning in San Francisco. We can look at this receiver room and this whole receiver situation with the big picture lens. 49ers have obviously just needed to get a lot better there for Brock Purdy, who's been one of the best quarterbacks in football, but Brock is looking at this through the microscope. Some of the nuances that he's going to be able to achieve with Mike Evans, with somebody who has this much experience under his belt, who can make adjustments on the fly in the red zone, it's going to help the 49ers big time in scoring range. And they already were solid in the red zone with Purdy last season, but this is only going to make things better if Mike Evans can stay healthy for San Francisco. Then, of course, there's the whole rookie question for the 49ers. How did Dejon Stribling fit? Brock mentioned Christian Kirk playing that slot position for San Francisco. That's going to be the small slot. Christian Kirk definitely doesn't have Dejon Stribling's size, but Stribling, the rookie, has already been working in with the 49ers. We saw him bussing with the boys, throwing the football. Remember, Juwan Jennings was able to throw the football very effectively as somebody who was recruited to the University of Tennessee as a quarterback, a star quarterback in high school in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We didn't know much about Dejon Stribling's potential versatility, but maybe he's going to be able to work in on some trick plays as well. But here's Purdy on Dejon Stribling.
You know, Stribling's a guy that, same thing, like has a lot of raw talent, and just throwing routes on there and stuff to him, getting a feel for how he moves and his speed. He's a guy that, you know, once we obviously get him in the playbook a lot and get reps with each other on the field, I feel like he's going to be a guy that can come in and make an instant impact. And so, you know, Kalon and Hank Leonard have done a really good job of just developing receivers and stuff. So to have him in the fold with the great receiving core that we have right now, it's amazing as a quarterback. I'm like, let's go.
One thing that I firmly sensed from Brock Purdy last night was true excitement, and I think he was speaking on behalf of Kyle Shanahan as well, but true excitement regarding the 49ers wide receiver room. And it's been a while since Purdy and Shanahan could feel like that. But here's Brock Purdy going through the names in that wide receiver room, and when you look at it, at least on paper, I think the 49ers have a good reason to be pumped up for 2026.
Yeah, he's pumped. I mean, just watching the film, and Christian Kirk, having him in the slot and what he's done in his career, and then Ricky Pearsall back and healthy, Jake Kalon healthy, Jordan Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, like our receiving core as a whole, like we're really excited about right now. Everyone's healthy and good. We got to keep it going and just keep stacking days. And I think, you know, we got a really good core as a whole.
The Mike Evans fit is obvious. We've talked about it so much. Everything in this offense seems to be tethered around the X receiver position, and the 49ers need better downfield blocking to improve the explosive run rate. And Mike Evans is somebody who can trigger a domino effect in that regard just because he's a really good blocker, but he also draws attention and it makes blocking assignments easier for everyone else. And of course, his contributions in the pass game will help the run game by association. But I think the name that people are forgetting most about, because they're focused on the additions for the 49ers in Evans, obviously, and Christian Kirk and Dejon Stribling, the name that people are forgetting about is Ricky Pearsall at the Z position, at the flanker position, and you heard Brock Purdy mention him as well. But I've got to really illustrate and outline how good Ricky Pearsall was last year before the PCL injury. By the way, the famous Lombardi segue here can be Ricky Pearsall's dad was a firefighter. And there is, I don't think that he was manning the fireboat. I think he was a firefighter in the state of Arizona, so I think in Phoenix. Not much water in Phoenix, but here in San Francisco, they have plenty of it. And I believe I just heard a few minutes ago a little siren go off in that fire department building. Maybe the fireboat's going to go out by the time that we finish this video. Anyway, Pearsall, over the course of last season's first 3+ games, well, actually, the fire truck is leaving, as you can see there. They don't need to take the fireboat out, but the fire truck does need to hit the Embarcadero. Engine 35 of the fire department here. Busy, busy morning on the Embarcadero. You can see the ferry building out there in the distance. So Pearsall, over the course of the first 3 games last year, had the 7th highest yards per route run in the entire league. Kyle Shanahan has even talked about this and his statistics to begin the 2026 season. This is how the 49ers are looking at Ricky Pearsall.
I think if you guys saw the film or you saw his stats, the stats did match the film. I think he was leading the league in a lot of categories before he got hurt. I want to say versus Jacksonville. And then he landed on his knee in the wrong way.
So the thing about Pearsall, and I think that a lot of social media, a lot of the media doesn't get this right, he is a proven performer when he's healthy. Now, obviously, he's got to prove that he can stay out on that field, but I think that some of the lack of availability for Ricky Pearsall, maybe most of it in that 2024 season after he got shot in the chest is nothing tied with his durability as a football player. And when he has been out there for the 49ers healthy, outside of the PCL injury that he suffered against Jacksonville in week 4, which lingered, he's been a top 10 producer in all of football. Mike Evans has obviously been a top 10 producer, right? So top 10 guy, if he stays healthy, that seems to be the big asterisk for the 49ers. Ricky Pearsall, at the very least, a top 10 flanker, Z position when he's been healthy. And the reason that you want Ricky playing the Z, even if he can line up everywhere, is because he can come in motion at the Z position. He's smaller than Mike Evans. He doesn't have to play that X split end if Mike is healthy, and that allows him to get better releases, and that puts him in better position to get open and accentuate his strengths with Brock Purdy. So you got two guys who can be top 10 guys at their respective roles if healthy. That's enough for the 49ers to get excited immediately, right out of the gate. The slot position is so important for the 49ers, and I think that slot diversity is crucial in the NFL these days. Big slot and small slot can put defenses in a bind when it comes to blocking in the run game, but also taking advantage of teams who have smaller nickelbacks, and then taking advantage of teams who have bigger, slower nickelbacks. You put them in coverage binds, and the 49ers had the big slot in Dejon Jennings, who was so successful whenever he could be the third wide receiver for this team. I think that's the initial idea for Dejon Stribling. Be that big slot. Maybe you could be the X down the road. Right now, the 49ers have Mike Evans, though, so they're not too worried about that X position for this next season. Dejon Stribling can play that third receiver, big slot for the 49ers, and give them it's not a luxury, give them the necessity of a mismatch generator at that position that has turned this offense into one of the top ones in the league whenever they've had that ability. Whenever Juwan could play the third receiver position, whenever he wasn't forced into action at the Z or the X, the 49ers had the tremendous advantage of third and Juwan because he was matched up against safeties whom he moved more quickly than, or with small slot cornerbacks whom he was bigger than. So third and Juwan can turn into third and Dejon for the 49ers. And then, the inverse of that, you got the yin and the yang at the slot receiver position is Christian Kirk, who I think can also play some Z for the 49ers. Of course, running back production out of the backfield has been the big joker card for the 49ers over the years, especially since they picked up Christian McCaffrey in 2022. They want to give him more breathers this year. They want to keep him as fresh as possible, especially since this is a marathon. And that stretch run, and that's where Kalon Black, all 400 benching pounds of Kalon Black come in. Look, we got the two light rail vehicles. That's the N Judah line here on the Embarcadero. One moving under the Bay Bridge, one moving over there toward the ferry building. But Kalon Black, I will predict this. I think he's running back 2 for the 49ers. There's a lot of people who are being a little bit more tentative with this, saying, okay, this guy's going to be working to try to leapfrog Jordan James. I think Jordan James, had he been a shoo-in for the running back 2 role already this year, we would have seen more of him last season. There's a reason we didn't see as much of Jordan James, and it's very likely, now we got a helicopter. We have all kinds of transportation here today. Helicopter flying over the Bay Bridge. Beautiful, beautiful morning in San Francisco. But Jordan James really doesn't have the explosiveness profile of a Kalon Black. And I think Jordan, technically a very sound back. He didn't fumble in college. He can catch the ball moving out of the backfield. Good pass protector. All of that checks out, but he didn't have the explosive runs that you would expect the college back to have. In that type of system, especially Oregon, they were athletically overmatching a lot of teams. Kalon Black, I think the 49ers believe there's some more home run hitting ability there. Brings a lot of the same fundamentals to the table with the pass protection, the ability to catch out of the backfield, which we saw out of the Senior Bowl. And I think that Kalon gives the 49ers true belief that they can spell Christian McCaffrey with somebody who's a very, very big threat. And just look at that strength, and we know that he runs the 40 and the 4.4s. 49ers rightly fired up about the offensive arsenal. Now, there is one big question, and Purdy talked a little bit about George Kittle and hearing George Kittle in the building yesterday.
When George is in the building, you can hear him and then you just feel him. Like,
does he eat mashed potatoes like with aggression?
Oh yeah, everything he does is like 5,000% more than the average person. But
now, we're not sure if George is going to be available for week 1. I would even say that he probably won't be, which means the tight end room is a little more thin. Right? Will Khalil Dinkins, the undrafted free agent out of Penn State, make the team? Maybe. But I think that the possibility here is even more intriguing. I think given all the receiving talent that I talked about at both the wideout and the running back positions, are we going to see more 4-wide sets for the 49ers? Even flexibility from a more crowded backfield and a shift into a 4-wide receiver set for San Francisco. I think it's definitely possible, and I think that's one reason why Brock Purdy is working as hard as he is on his pocket presence. Anyway, here's the full interview with Brock Purdy.
I think it makes a difference for sure. Obviously getting reps on air, how certain guys move. Ricky Pearsall and Jake Kalon are 2 different guys, and they run differently. Jake Tonjes is different. All these guys, they move differently. So to be able to drop back and understand, hey, I got to get this ball out quick because this guy's going to get out of his cut quick, or this guy takes a little bit longer, but he's going to create separation at the last second. Like, those are things that I need to learn, and we all need to learn and get on the same page with early off season and training camp, and then in the heat of battle once we get in season. So I think it's a real thing, but at the end of the day, it is football too, where you can't overthink things, and you got to go out there and play and find a way. I mean, that's a credit to top down and to the guys that you guys just saw up here on the stage. Like, those guys that have laid the foundation for what it means to be a 49er, going back to the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the success. Like, those are, like, we play and have pride as a 49er because of those guys, so it goes way back. Yeah, I mean, every single day I get up and I'm like, this is crazy. I'm a 49er. Obviously, a starting quarterback, but like just the history of this place. I'll never take it for granted. Obviously, just with how I came into the league and all that, and fighting and going through adversity to just make the team. But now the fact that I get to put on the Niner logo and go to the weight room, and just that pride that I have of being here in the Bay Area and wanting to get that next championship for sure. And so that's like obviously on my mind, but it has to be one day at a time. It has to be when I watch the film, how do I literally watch it and critique myself? How do I be better for myself, for my teammates, for this organization and fan base? Like, it means everything. And this window is so big. It's in terms of playing, you don't get to play forever. And so for me, it's like I want to go all in so that when I am done, I can lay my head down on the pillow and say I gave it everything I had.
Cool.
Old Juice, he's been around for a long time.
I'm gonna tell him you said that.
Yeah, please. I'll tell it straight to him. But he's he's the man. Talk about when people say glue guys and stuff, but like he really does. The way that he speaks to the team, the way that he shows up and works, he's here year round, around the guys from the beginning of phase 1 stuff and OTAs when it's not even mandatory. He's here. He's in year like 15 or whatever. And
he's calling him old again.
Yeah, sorry, Juszczyk. But more than that, just the way that he lays down his life for his teammates, his family, the people in his life as a whole, this community, what he's done here.
What do you think this team is capable of when you guys are at full strength, full health?
I mean, you guys have seen it, in years past, like NFC Championship, getting to the Super Bowl, being right there. Obviously, how 2023 ended with that taste in our mouth of being right there and not being able to finish. Like, obviously, we have what it takes to go all the way and win it. Like, that's when we're at full strength and good to go. But just like I said, like, even though we are at full strength and full health, like, that's not guaranteed. And that's the cool thing about the guys that we have in the locker room and our organization is no one just sits there and goes, oh, look at our roster and how beautiful it looks. Like, no, the guys are ready to go. Like I said, when it's said and done, like, we want to be able to come back just like all these other guys and have rings on our fingers and be able to celebrate those key wins and moments for the history of the 49ers. Like, that's what's on our mind, so we got to do it.